Okay, so we just finished our gun that shoots sticky bullets, which I'm going to play with again because it's just too much fun. Okay, we got sticky bullets, sticky bullets, sticky bullets. That is the best. So now we want to make a sword. So let's save, let's go to assets, well, I mean, you don't have to do this, but I'm doing it. I'm going into my scenes, and I'm going to hit Control D on this scene that I made. I'm going to rename it to 14 sword. And we're going to make a sword that kills, I guess. But we're going to want it to swing. So basically I just want to be able to hit the fire button, our sword swings, and maybe only when it's swinging, if it hits something, it dies. So the way I'm going to do that is probably set the sword to be... How do you make it not kill? I guess I'll manipulate the tag. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to delete the gun. Actually, I have to go into my new scene, which is test 14. I'm going to open up my FPS controller, and I guess delete my gun, which is sad because it was an awesome gun. Oh, I don't know if I should delete it. I'm just going to turn it off. Yeah, because it's in a prefab, and I don't feel like breaking the prefab. And I'm going to take my kill cube, and I'm going to put that in my FPS character, like so. And I'm going to put that sort of like... This is quick and dirty. This, you just have to use your imagination. This is my sword. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to duplicate this. So we got a nice big sword here. But what I did was I duplicated it so that I could have a small... Oops, no, I like that one there. We'll make it just a tiny bit more sword-like, so it has like a hilt or whatever that is called. We'll make it thinner, sort of like that. Kind of looks like a lightsaber, I guess. And take these things, actually create an empty child. I don't actually expect anyone to do this. This is just me kind of building an object, sort of. So imagine you downloaded a sword, or you have the sword that Gregory made. Here's our sword. And it's sort of like in the view, kind of like the way it would be in an FPS. And I think what I'll do is it'll just sort of hang around, maybe sort of like up, like as if it's in your hand facing up. And maybe I'll rename this to sword. So now we have a sword, right? And here it is parented to our guy, so that it's currently, oh, except that it has rigid bodies all over it, so I want to sort of disable that. I guess it's not a prefab, so that's okay. So it has colliders on it, and it's a killer cube, but it doesn't have rigid bodies. And that's currently kind of important. Now, it is the kill cube, so it's going to kill this guy. Ugh, he dies. It also has colliders, so it kind of bumps into stuff. But it's not ideal the way it works. Anyway, we have a sword, all right? It's parented to our guy. But I want it to kind of move around, I guess, like it's in your hand, I guess. So I'm gonna go to the animator window. Animator, not animation. There's a big difference. How many? Maybe I'll put it here. Yeah. So we have our animator, except there's nothing. Really? Okay, so I go to animation. So I was wrong. I want to create an animator. So we'll call this sword animator. And I'll just kind of move it just to the top assets thing. And now we have an animator. Ooh boy, that was dumb. I called it sword animator. We made an animator and it's called sword. But our clip is called sword animator. Which is a mistake. And I'm going to rename it to sword idle. So it changed here. I mean, yeah, we wanted to animate, I guess. So what's going on here? Animation, sword idle. I think I broke it. Something bad happened. So maybe I'll delete that. I just hit command delete. So here's sword. Sword has sword animator on it, which I renamed, but I'm going to call that sword idle. This is going to be much harder than the projectiles, honestly. But this is how we do it. Sword idle. And I guess we're going to create some motion. So we go to animation, we select sword, and we create an animation clip. Sword idle clip. And hit enter. Now I'm going to select sword, which is already selected. I'm going to hit add property, and we want it to be transform. Yes. Interesting. So which kill cube is which? It's this is the hilt, right? I'm going to remove this tag. Actually, I'm going to remove the kill attribute from, or the kill tag from both of these kill cubes. So I'm back to sword, sword idle clip, and I'm adding property again. And I'm going to say position. Let's just use rotation. And here's our, we'll go here, right, to 30 frames. And over here, I guess I'll hit record, and I have the rotate manipulator, something like this, I guess. So if I go to animation and hit play, it's fine. I'm done. Okay. And then we're going to have another clip. Oh, that's funny. So we'll call this sword idle clip. What I did was there was already an animation state in the animator, which was when I started it, I think I called it sword animator, which was a mistake, so I deleted it. and now we still had this animation state here, which I renamed to sword idle. But then I made something called sword idle clip, which created a new state. But we just needed it to be here. Yeah, I know it's so confusing, so I'm sorry. I might have to redo this at a later date to make it less confusing. But hopefully you're following along. So this sword idle is going to run. So if I hit play and I'm playing the game, it's always going to be in idle. Alright? It's always animated, and it doesn't kill things anymore because I took that tag off. But what I'll do is I want to go back to animation and create a new clip. Create a new clip, and we'll call this sword swing or attack. Sorry about that. I just kind of burped or something. Sword attack. Okay, and we're going to add a property, and we're going to say it's going to go and slice and then come back, and that's all it's going to do. So our slicing motion can have maybe a slight position change and a slight rotation change. So maybe it'll be up, out, back, up, out, and back. So maybe the middle keyframe, the 30, is when it's out. So we'll hit record, and I'll select my sword and sort of like maybe from my scene view I'll have it sort of forward like that and maybe rotated like that. Right? But so it's just gonna kind of Oh, that's weird though. There's a pop in the animation which I don't like. Oh, whoops. So stop, nope, stop that. So this keyframe, I'm gonna hit Control C or Command C or whatever, and I'm gonna paste it, wait, there. So I was checking this number here because it's at frame 60 to make sure it's exactly on it. Otherwise you'll end up with a big mess. You gotta be precise. See, in this view that I'm in, it's not precise. There, that's better. 1, 0, 0, you see that? That's where I want it, 1, 0, 0. Or you look here where it says samples. Wait. No, that doesn't actually. So there's two things. There's this timeline, and there's these keyframes. Something to keep track of. So if I hit play, nothing happens. Oh yeah, it just idles. So, but if I hit play here, it's going to show me my attack animation, which is not what I want. Plus, it shouldn't be looping, but that's a different story. So I want it to sort of raise up, maybe, let's just say it's at halfway, so at frame 15, we'll have it raise up. So I'll go record, scene, and I'm looking at the camera view and scene view. We'll have it raise up, rotate back, like this, I guess. So now I hit play. Oops. That was the wrong play button. Go to my animation thingy, hit play here. That's basically it. I mean, it's okay. That's, you know what, that's all I'm gonna do. That's achieved in 1, 2, 3, 3 keyframes, because the first and last are the same. And you know, you can go to curves, you can mess with it if you really like to animate. But I'm done. I recorded 2 keyframes or 3 keyframes, whatever. So that's my sword attack, except there's a reason I have kill cube here. Wrong. There is not a reason. I did not mean to have that there. I should remove that property. Yes. Because I just want the sword to move and rotate. But I also want kill cube You know what? I wanted to animate the tag, but I can't. That's not cool. Okay. Well, then what I'll do is animate the collider. So kill cube 1 is the main piece. So I will add a property, kill cube 1, box collider, enabled. And I will key it off, and then when it's in full attack, I'm going to key it on, and then key it back off at the end. But you know what that means. It means I need kill cube collider to be off by default. Or I could key it in my idle clip. Which is what I'll do. Yes. Add property, kill cube 1, box collider, enabled, and I'll key it off at the beginning and at the end. So it's always off, and that means I can turn this thing to kill. So it's in kill mode, and kill mode happens when the collider hits something. But since the collider will be off when it's idling, it won't kill. So, it's complicated, right? So when I'm playing the game and I'm bumping into the guy, it's just sort of going through him. It's not that exciting, but you know what? We're making a simple game. I'm sorry. And then what we'll do is go into the animator. And now we have 2 things. We will have a transition from idle to attack, and from attack back to idle. So in order to transition from idle to attack, we're going to need a trigger. Not to be confused with the trigger on a collider. This will just be attack trigger. And what this means is we can activate this trigger when somebody presses a button. And when that trigger is active, it goes from idle to attack. And it does not have exit time. That way it won't be waiting for the idle cycle to end before it starts attacking. And we're going to have a condition, this trigger. And then it'll just go back when it's done attacking. Yeah. So to test it, we would go into the game. Okay. And here we are, like, aimed at the guy. Whoops. Well, if I click on this trigger here, you see the attack action, right? And that's how that works. But we want it to work in the game, so I don't have to come here and click on that trigger. So to do that, we have our sword. We're going to add sword attack as our script. Create and add. And we are going to double click that script. And since we know there's an animator on it, we're just going to assume it has an animator. We're going to write very sloppy code because we're in a rush. Animator, and I'm just going to call it anim. And our start will be anim is equal to get game object dot get component animator, like that. Whoops. So if you don't make it exactly the way I'm making it, it might break. That's what I mean by we're writing sloppy code. So if this animator didn't exist on an object, it would break. So in our update, we'll say if get button input dot get button with parentheses fire 1, like that, anim dot set trigger, and the name of the trigger, which I have to look up. It's called attack trigger. And I think hit save. Ooh, that should be get button down. Get button down. That's better. I did something wrong. Oh no. It's just compiling. So here's me attacking. And the guy dies. So it's and it only collides with things when I'm in attack mode. So my idle probably should be much farther away, like backed off. Like the sword could be up high, so you're not just bumping into people, like threatening them by accident. But basically, what I've done here achieves, whoops, I'm clicking all over the place by accident. But yeah, it's complicated, and I can kill this guy. Can I hit R? Oh, it went to a different scene. My my restart script doesn't know that I started in this scene. So I'm just going to hit play. And see, I can walk into this guy and he's not dying. But if I attack him proper, by clicking the button, he dies. If I attack the box, it collides. Okay. Well, that's it. I'm going to try to use this information tomorrow when Jaden comes asking for help. Or I'm going to ask him to watch this. But here's my sword attack script is easy, right? Because all it does is trigger an animation. And my... oh, that's cube stick. That's for the gun game. The gun thingy. Well, I guess that's it. It was much harder than I was expecting. I think anything that involves animation and the animator is a little bit complicated. And I don't know what to say. I would almost rather code it from scratch, you know? Isn't that weird? Because then it would be just one script. But think about it another way. You could send this file to an animator friend and have them do a really elaborate sword animation, and all the code could stay the same. So that's a cool thing. Have them fix up the idle animation as well. So that's it. I'm going to save this and call it a day. Good night.